Guardian.
What's going on, guys? Apathetic here, and today we're going to discuss the buff that occurred to pulse rifles, and more specifically Redrix's Broadsword, and discuss where I think these weapons will place in the meta. Let's get into it. So with the start of Shadowkeep, as you probably already know, high impact and rapid frame pulse rifles received a nice boost to their damage, along with a range nerf that also impacted hand cannons as well as pulse rifles. So we have to talk about what has this done. Essentially, it's created spaces that each of these archetypes of weapons are effective, and when you leave that space, you feel it like a lot. So how has this impacted Redrix's Claymore and other pulse rifles? Well, because of their boosted damage, these pulses melt, guys. And out of all the pulses I tried, so that being Outlast, which is a rapid frame, Vigilance Wing, and of course Redrix was by far my favorite. The main reason is because of the higher base damage. This allows me to get kills from slightly farther away and stay just outside of that effective range of hand cannons, but also because I felt like it was much easier to pace my shots in between those bursts. And I can confirm with Redrix, if you hit all crits, you can 2-burst most Guardians, which is an absolutely insane feeling. Now, you guys are probably wondering about how the range nerf has impacted these pulse rifles, and I didn't really notice it too much. I felt like my Redrix was still pretty viable at most ranges, and the only time I really noticed any dip in range is when I tried to shoot someone with a scout rifle who was hitting me from Zimbabwe. But the answer to all of this is Desperado. So when Desperado procs, guys, this weapon is just nuts. As you're probably seeing from some of the gameplay, this weapon absolutely shreds when you combine that damage buff with Desperado. And when Desperado is procced, range becomes even less of an issue for this weapon. Yes, you will still experience some damage drop off, but because of how fast this weapon fires, it makes up for the lack of damage that you could do at more optimal ranges. Also with Desperado proc, this actually allows you to address anyone who happens to sneak their way closer to you, because you can either melt them up close by aiming down sights, or you can just hip fire like a madman to erase your enemies. Now, I haven't really discussed rapid fire frames too often in this video, and that's because trying Outlast and Redrix and kind of testing out different pulse rifles, I had much more success with Redrix, and the reason is because of the changes to range on hand cannons and pulse rifles. With Redrix, you have a base range of 60 compared to Outlast with a base range of 37. With a range that low, that's going to bring you right into the meat grinder of weapons, meaning your optimal range is going to be similar to hand cannons and the Effin Recluse. Side note, if you're using Recluse in the Crucible, you're dead to me. But anyway, that's one of the factors that made me lean toward a high impact frame pulse rifle like Redrix. It allows me to find a perfect spot where I can do great damage and I don't have to enter the optimal range of hand cannons and other CQC weapons to be effective. And it's because of this that I think Redrix and other high impact frames are going to be very strong. They really strike that balance of not having to be super long distance like a scout rifle, but also keep you out of that effective range, as I mentioned, of hand cannons. And if you guys couldn't tell, at least in the 6v6 playlist, we are already seeing a lane sitting meta developing. So having a weapon that's very versatile in its effectiveness and lethality is key, and that's why Redrix Claymore is going to be my go-to pulse rifle for this season. But let me know how you guys are enjoying the current meta and what seems to be your go-to weapon right now. With that, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Double down.